I just lost that entire thing. I paused it earlier and I forgot. So we're gonna reshoot what I've already filmed, which sucks, but I guess it's better now than later. But starting with our puny plum, I had a neighbor pass by earlier, so it was kind of spotty anyways, but I guess we're gonna reshoot this. But starting with our puny plum, was not sure if it was gonna live. I did ask a very close family friend, shout out to you, Karen. Thank you for the advice that you gave me. But let's show you the puny plum. And this is what it's gonna be called from now on, but it's all of this, it goes up to that, and then it's down here. The only thing is, everything from right here up is dead. There's a little bit of green right here. A little bit of green is still alive. And she gave me amazing advice about pruning. She said go ahead and just cut off all of this and all the way up. And I am going to do that. But she said wait until everything is going really well with the plant or with the tree, so it's not trying to, so it doesn't send out signals saying that it's been damaged too much, which I am going to wait, of course. I'll probably wait until this is a foot or two taller and then really develop that, but cut it in the next, prune it next season for, yeah, cut it next pruning season, which I'm probably going to do in the spring, making sure everything's still alive. But all the other trees are looking fantastic. I mean, this one's looking fantastic too. I thought it was dead. I thought we were going to have to buy a whole nother one, which I'm really glad that we don't. It's going to forever be known as the puny plum. That joke is from the original video, those of you who watched the original orchard video. That is, but what I was gonna say before I accidentally cut it off, and I'll show this. Okay, so you see how these are planted? At least the ones on this side of my fence. The fence is not on these two, but how they are is roots, and what you just saw, the roots are not, the roots in the trunk are not exposed to sunlight really at all throughout the day on these few, well, more than half of what I have. They're not exposed to sunlight at all, but whatever sunlight does get through it is enough to get the leaves and everything else to open. And then when they are taller, they will also act as a barrier. And I'm saying this because we do have a neighbor who will, I don't know where this guy's going. Okay. We do have a neighbor who's on this side of our fence. Our fence is on the right side from where I am right now. Neighbor's on the left across the road. They have looked from their top windows like into our yard, which it's not a problem, but it is more about privacy. So these will be serving as huge privacy trees later on. Not right now. I know that it's for later on, but let's get back into our little orchard revisit. But yeah, they are for privacy later on. And if it doesn't happen like that, it doesn't happen, but I know that they'll get tall enough. And we also put them here on this slope, because it's any farther down, everything would have gotten sun, but they would have been too far down for my liking, and anybody else's liking. But having them here, they're able to reach above where the fence is and still get enough sunlight to photosynthesize and be able to complete their cycles. So let me wait until this one car is passed. It's so weird filming on this side, which is why I tend to not, except for in the middle of the day, and it's not the middle of the day, as you can see. But let's get back to this other apple. So the first one was a plum, and this one's an apple. Either Golden Delicious, not Golden Delicious, Granny Smith, or Red Delicious. Nothing has opened on this tree yet. It all is so close to opening. Very, very close, which I'm excited for. It just has not taken that final step in the opening process, which is fine. Completely fine. It's going to open on its own and it's going to do its own thing. I'm not too. Trees have their natural cycles. Some years they're later than others, but I think it's more the apple variety in general, because my other apple, which I'm getting ready to show you, is not. That one over there is doing really well. It is a little shorter. We bought it shorter though, and this one we actually bought taller, which I don't know what I'm going to do with this. Pruning wise, I need to look at some things, ask some people later on when that time does arise, because I did not prune anything because things were too sporadic and not growing where I wanted them. So we will see. This one right here, another apple. It's the other variety. I think this one's Red Delicious though, and I think the other one was Granny Smith. I could have these completely confused, but I do believe this is right. This one still hasn't opened. This one is actually really tall. It's taller than I am, which I'm 6'1". It's at least 2 foot taller than me. I can barely reach the top with my arms spread out. So yeah, but that concludes our little apple part. These are, well, the next two that I'm going to show are pears. One of these is actually really similar to the plum up there, where I'm going to have to cut off a lot of the crown, or the main trunk and crown, and it's going to be putting more work into other places, which I'll show you that one in just a second. This is not the one. This one does need a lot of trimming and some decapitation. I'm waiting for after this to see what needs to happen, and again, get advice on this. This one is taller, but all of that's dead. It's dead. It's showing a lot of a neighbor's yard, but whatever. It's dead up into right here. It's dead all the way to there. These I'm not going to let produce. These are pears. This year they will not be producing at all. I'm going to go ahead and probably cut off, maybe trim off these pieces here. But these will not be producing this year. I am not going to let these produce, and I'm not going to let the plums. I may let the peach and I may let the apple, but that is all up to be determined. As of right now, I'm not entirely sure. I just need to revisit that. But as you can see, this part looks fine. I am going to keep this whole branch right here, and I will probably keep this one too, and potentially this one. Anything else I'm probably going to get rid of. If not this first pruning, or the first pruning that I do, I want to get rid of everything on the bottom so it's really putting things into the top. As much as it can, of course. But what I'll probably end up doing is coming in, taking out this, and taking out this, because it looks really tall, really spindly. I don't particularly like it. I want to clean it up a little bit. I just am not sure the route to take right now, but now would be a good time to prune, if any time was. So I may take a picture and ask the family friend again what she would do, which I think it'll be fine. Pruning these, this just looks more woody. Like this one right here, it looks more woody. The same thing with this. I might keep this. It's a little shorter than I might want, but until it starts putting things into the higher level, until I put things into the higher, or up until it starts putting things into these really well, it's going to stay how it is. I'm going to cut off some things at the bottom, but really let it start putting into this branch and let this become part of the main tree, along with 1 or 2 from over there, and then these that are coming out now. So let's move on to our other plum, or our other pear. These are pears. Pears, y'all. I have people behind me, so I don't want to show them, but let me show you guys these. This is actually the same concept that I was talking about with the other one. Well, the one that I was talking about right there, when I said that the trunk and the crown needed to be cut off. Well, it needed to be cut. And it's very much true. I was kind of hating it, really hating it. But it was my fault. They stayed in buckets for too long because we weren't sure where we were going to put them. If I would have gotten these and I would have known where they were going, these would be going in the ground right now. Or they would have gone in the ground and they would have been fruiting right now. We wouldn't have had to deal with this at all. And it's my fault. We weren't, well, it's not, it is and isn't my fault. We were not sure where they were going. Anyone, my mom either. Because, I mean, you're deciding where a tree is going. It's not something that one person should decide unless you live by yourself. But all of that has been sort of decided anyways. Now, if I could go back, I would have put these in the ground way sooner. We wouldn't have had to buy more, and they would have already been fruiting, which they actually fruited last year or the year before, and I don't think they were getting enough water. I don't know. They weren't getting enough water being in the bucket, and they were drying out way too fast. I had them in direct sunlight, and I shouldn't have done that. I should have put them in enough sunlight, but left the buckets in the shade. That's whatever, though. My fault. I'm not beating myself up about it because I know that they're living now. Over the winter, I was a little worried that they were not going to come back at all. I mean, I know I saw buds and things like that, but I was a little worried. So this one, you can see what I mean. Down at the bottom, it has 3 little offshoots, and all of those are living. And actually what this is caused from, I will go into this for just a second. What this is caused from is, well, it was not getting enough water, so the water was not able to travel all the way up into the taller part that was alive at the end of last year. So it was only putting water into the things that were there at the very bottom. I think they were just drying out too fast and not getting enough water, even with me watering every other day, I think. It's just what it was, but they're living now. I'm not too worried about it. I'm okay with 3 main trunks, but these will actually be staying like this. I'm not going to cut off the trunk yet. The trunk will actually be being cut off next year, in the spring, or maybe in the winter, just because it's not producing anything. And I would rather just go ahead and get it going. I'm going to ask, because these are 3 larger shoots, but I am just going to wait for right now and probably do everything in the fall of this year, which is 2023. Today's Sunday, March 5th. I mentioned that in the beginning of the other one, and then it cut off. So, but this is where this is. These 2 will actually be being cut off, this part and this one. I might go ahead and do that. I don't want them putting any more in down here. I want them really putting in work to get these up to where they need to be up to height wise, and they're almost there. I mean, that one's 3 foot off of the other one, so I'm not too worried about it. 3 foot off of the main crown, which is dead now, so it's not even a main crown. But these dudes, they're doing fine. Love them. They're gonna get enough water. We've gotten enough water so far, so I have not had to water them, but we'll see in due time when it gets to that point. I will probably come off and cut some of these branches right here and really give this a chance. I mean, you can see me moving it right now. They're not completely woody. They're still going to be like that for a long time. So I might end up going to get, well, I actually have the twine for the tomatoes, so I might go and get some, cut it into 3 strips just big enough to wrap around here loosely so it doesn't blow, but I'm not too worried about it. I probably won't even do that. I just had that thought this morning. But they're doing completely fine. Not too worried about them. They're going to do just fine. I know they are. And when I planted these, I prayed over each one. And I think that's probably contributed to their health, but also their actual cycle. But I wanted to make sure that they were good. This is more growth right here. Looking fantastic. I have 2 more trees and I have a lot of time. I have less than 5 minutes. So let's get on over here to this. Oh, I don't spend a lot of time over here because there's a neighbor that I don't like on this side, the back side, past the trees. But this peach tree is looking fantastic. If I could have switched the order, I would have done... No, I wouldn't have changed it because I think that was fine where it was, actually. So it's the exact order I would have gone with. The same concept happened with this one. It wasn't getting a lot of water down. I'm just going to upload a part 2. This was really frustrating. The same concept from what I left off on just a second ago. This is I don't even see that plane. I have 5 minutes. I need to hurry. The same concept happened where it wasn't putting in a lot of work in the base. Not in the base. It wasn't getting enough water, so it couldn't do everything into the main trunk and the crown. Looking a lot better than the other ones. I mean, look. And I don't know if these are going to turn into leaves or if there's going to be any leaves coming out from here, which... Looking right here, it looks like it might. So hopefully it does. If not, I don't know. Down here, these will actually be getting pruned off when I can guarantee that the top part is alive. So after probably this fall, which the top part is alive, obviously. But after this fall, I'll really know what to expect. This is our first year in the ground, so I'm able to really see what they're able to do. But I mean, these guys are doing fantastic. We actually have one that's opening, and I want to get a picture. Spring is sprung here, in my opinion. But these guys are doing fantastic. I'm not too worried about them, but I will be pruning everything else off once I know that that top part is alive and is actually producing green leaves and not just flowers. Which, if I'm looking at the ends of each, they are going to be growing. They are a little shorter. This one, I'm taller than it. I said earlier I'm 6'1", so it's probably about 6 foot, maybe 5'11". But yeah, all of these trees are doing amazing. And I thought a lot of them weren't going to live. But this is fantastic. I know this one's going to be good. It is actually putting out leaves, so I am not too worried about the bottom. I may go ahead and cut off the bottom because I want them to not live. I don't want them putting any more development into a shorter part, into the bottom part that's going to get cut off anyways. I want them really growing the crowns. And with this one that looks completely perfect, I want it cutting off. I want everything else cut off, and I want the crown developing. I have 2 minutes. This last one is another plum. They are a little bit farther apart than I might have wanted. I wanted them right next to each other. It was just how we got them. We need to get this one last because it died. The other one that I had died, like fully died before I even got it in the ground. But yeah, all of these trees are looking fantastic. I'm going to show you this one because this was the best one. It was put in the ground right when I got it. So beautiful. It's beautiful, y'all. Let me get a good shot. Sorry, I'm getting a little thumbnail here. Some flies. But again, with this one, just over 6'1", doing fantastic. I'm actually looking here. It is going to be putting out leaves everywhere else. So I might not trim off anything off the bottom, except for any new growth, so I can start getting them to put new growth into the top part. I want them to grow, but I also want them to grow right. And that doesn't necessarily mean trimming or pruning, but yeah, I have a minute left. Sorry for this being in 2 parts. My phone is being dumb and I have fat thumbs when I was trying to reverse the camera. But these trees are doing fine. I'm going to be doing another update video after the apple trees have opened up and they've grown and they've gained a little bit of length. They've grown a little bit, so I will be doing that. But thank you for watching. I am going to be keeping everything well documented on here. I'm hoping this year is better with me actually documenting and keeping things going. Last year I kind of fell off. But this year I'm hoping that doesn't happen. But these trees are doing amazing. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Have an amazing week, and happy Sunday, everyone. And I will see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.